that you can do to get what God has not positioned your life to have. But also they had a Savior. They understood that they serve the God of the heavens and the earth. Mind you, they are in a polytheistic society. They had the multiple belief of other gods amongst them. They were in proximity of polytheism, yet they held on to their monotheistic beliefs. They recognized that it doesn't matter how many gods you erect, there's not but one eternal God. And beloved, people will erect gods all around you, but you have to understand it doesn't matter how many gods are erected around me. The God that I serve does not have to be erected, because he is a God who is eternal. The God who is eternal is a God that was from beginning and will be to the end. He is the Alpha and he's the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. He is from everlasting to everlasting. And as long as you know that you do not have to submit to substandards, all you have to do is to stand for your Savior. But then they are persecuted because of their standards. They're persecuted because of their Savior, but they're persecuted because of their stand. Notice what the king says. He says, first of all, these Babylonians come in and say, "O king, mind you, the people that you have put in these slots, who are in essence not from us," because they highlighted the fact that they were Jews. They said, these individuals, in essence, are not even from our sect. I mean, our community, our clique. They are not from among us. And since they are not from among us, it seems to me that the people you have positioned are the ones giving us the most difficulty. How is it, king, that you put some people in place and they won't even do what you ask them to do? Can you imagine the joy that wailed in the hearts of these Babylonians, because they were probably like some people of the contemporary church? They're not even from our church. And you giving them a slot to serve, and they're not even from our church. They were not born, they were not bred, they were not raised in our church. That's how we talk today. If a person gets a slot in church today and they're not raised or bred or born in this church, we sometimes can't understand how could they supersede me and get a position, and I've been here all of my life. You know that does happen in the contemporary church. Maybe not this one, but in some of the contemporary churches. And he said they're not bowing. But these men, they took a stand because they worship the true God. You have to be willing to take a stand. Although everybody else bowed when the music played, how many of us are still standing while other people are bowing? How many people see you still standing when everybody else, they have succumbed to society's standards, and they are bending and they are bowing and they are shifting just to fit in? As a believer, you will not always fit in. You will not always look like everybody else. In fact, you will sometimes stand out like a sore thumb when you stand on the precepts and the principles of God himself. Some stuff you have to just be willing to stand on, even if you have to stand by yourself. But I stop to tell you that when you stand, you're not standing by yourself, because if God be for you, he's more than the world against you. Sometimes you've just got to be willing to do what no one else is willing to do, and that is what these boys did. They were willing to stand. Can you imagine everybody in that province, the moment the band started to play, everybody bowed, and these three were still standing? Can you imagine